Well, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 9 of the Roots of Success podcast. I am your host, Nate the Great Peterman, and today we have a very special guest on the show, my man, Freddy Fri. What's going on, brother?
Man, what up, world? I'm excited to be with Nate the Great. Today is definitely a Wednesday. We got the roots of success and step-by-step principles to take your life and your game to the next level. I'm just excited to be a part of it. That's all.
Hey, let's get it, brother. No, I really appreciate you being on the show. And for those of you who might not know, who is Freddy Fri? Or man, that's some name, or they want to know more. So basically, just a brief introduction of Freddy Fri. Your Pushaman is a real life champion. No matter what the arena is, he has one mission, and that is to win that day and ultimately win in life. Freddy is a leading expert and one of the very few authentic hip hop motivational speakers in the education and life wellness arenas. Freddy has made it his ultimate goal in life to help students, educators, and everyday people win and become champions in all aspects of their lives. The energy, passion, and purpose of Freddy's presentation is second to none. Man, Fred, you have quite the background.
Hey, that's the background. I said I'm gonna start like this because I said that I was one of the few, if the only, hip hop teacher, right? And so, with my story, people want to know how you got through what you've been through. Tell them I was sinful, was swindled, any so that came in contact with my personal, but then I made that switch, and now my life is full and purposeful. See, they wonder why. I say it's because I got a why. And that's the reason why this Wally vet is still the guy. I'm guided by the principles, and in this case, the roots of success. And plus, my mama watching over, so I stay blessed. Life is what you make it. Please believe me. You never have to work if it was easy. It's a roller coaster ride. It'll leave you queasy. Karma come if you're leaving sleazy. Karma come if you're living sleazy. So anyway, that's my intro. That's my hip hop intro. But the whole part of man, it's been a journey. But the main thing is people, in our arenas, and for you to be able to be on this podcast and hosting this show, that means that you have something to offer the world, and you've overcame something that you can help somebody else overcome. And for me, it started when I was 4 years old. My mom passed away when I was 4 years old. She died of kidney failure. She went to a clinic. We're from Oklahoma. We live in Oklahoma. I live in Tulsa, but she was living in Hugo, which is a real small town in Oklahoma. And she was sick. And she went to a local clinic, and they misdiagnosed her. She was perfectly healthy, but she got sick. They gave her the wrong medicine and messed up her kidneys. And they told her that she shouldn't have any kids. Wound up getting pregnant with me. Didn't want to abort me. So that was like a blessing for me in disguise right there. Had me. But unfortunately, she passed away when I was 4 years old. My daddy manned up. He manned up and he took me in. But the problem was is that he was working all the time. He was like always gone. And so in those days, it was kind of like, you got to have a woman around to raise the kid, right? And he just didn't make a great choice with my stepmom. And so I know that phrase very well when they say treat you like a stepchild, because she was very mentally abusive and did a lot of drugs and drank. And so I saw a lot of things that, I wouldn't wish for any child to see. Grew up in the heart of North Tulsa, which is the hood. It's the hood in North Tulsa. Went to the lowest performing schools in the city, and wound up graduated number 4 in my class, but I really didn't get pushed. So when I went to college, I really wasn't prepared for college. So started doing hip hop when I was in high school. I was a shy kid, used to get bullied, but overcame through hip hop. And once I graduated, a couple of my friends that had graduated a year before me started selling crack cocaine. Well, I wind up selling crack cocaine. Long story short, almost got busted. Realized that it wasn't for me. Stopped selling crack cocaine. Gained custody of my 4 kids. Raised my 4 kids, 3 girls and a boy. Was a basketball coach. Turned to basketball coach just from being a team into basketball tournaments, got my degree later in life. And right now I'm running basketball tournaments. I'm a motivational speaker, rolling with Dr. Eric Thomas. And basically, I turned my baggage into a bag and went from ashy to classy and from tragedy to triumph. And now I'm on this podcast with Nate the Great telling you to make every day of your life a Wednesday.
Man, Fred, that's incredible. You know, your story, it's, you know, I hear it, of course, growing up, people go through similar circumstances, but I meet a lot of people, as I'm sure you do as well, and it seems like they just can't get out of that funk, right? It's like the addiction is always there, and they become obsessed with the wrong thing. So I guess, man, how did you, I mean, I know you know where I'm going with this, but how did you really just break out of that funk? Because, I mean, growing up, I mean, your mom passing at 4, man, I mean, first off, I'm really sorry to hear about that. I never knew that. And that right there alone is just, goodness. I mean, I'm 21. You feel me? My mom, she was in her mid-40s. And I couldn't imagine, you know, not really having a mother in my life. And, of course, with Father's Day coming up, I know it's not always the most favorite day, especially for the male demographic and things like that. So I guess for you, man, like, what is it that really broke you out of that funk and that clicked in your head that said, man, I got to make a change?
Man, for me, first and foremost, I really do believe that my mom has been like my guardian angel that has kept me out of harm's way, because it's hard for me to describe how I could be right in the midst of all the mess, all the drama, right in the hood. You know, I came up when crack cocaine hit the town. Crack hit the town back in '86. You know what I mean? I was a teenager then. And so I saw it firsthand. Like I said, I originally was in this rap group called the DC Boys, and we were like these local celebrities at our high school. Well, two of the guys were 1 year older than me and the other guy, Daryl Davis, which is the Deekster. Me and him still do music together to this very day. Well, like I said, it was so new that we were still in our senior year, and they would come over to the house and they would have money. And I ain't talking like $20, $30. They would have hundreds.
Wow.
And we'd be like, dude, how in the world did you get that kind of money? And they would just tell me, because it was so new. We selling crack. What? Right. What? Y'all crazy. We would never do nothing like that. And so I just had this natural fear instilled in me of different things. And so when we say in the hood took me under. And so what it was is I was dating a young lady who lived in a project in Tulsa.
Okay.
Lived in some low-income apartments. And so everybody in the low-income apartments, not everybody, but I mean, it was a lot of drug activity, gang activity, and stuff like that going on in apartments. Well, I was there all the time. And so her brother was like, man, I know your boys got that stuff, man. I know you don't want to sell it, but if you get it and just give it to me, I'll sell it. I'm like, man, I ain't messing with that stuff, man. But I mean, then my baby, and then my girlfriend wanted to get pregnant. I was broke, and I had easy access. So I totally went against my belief system and my value system, because I am not wired for doing anything illegal. That is not good. I tell my kids all the time, we are not good criminals, so don't even try it. And so I wound up getting it from one guy and giving it to her brother. You know, I didn't feel good about it, but I mean, I would give it to him, and I just kind of be out there just monitoring. And you know, he wound up smoking it. He wound up smoking the crack, you know, and I'm just like, oh man. And so I was making a little bit of money from it. I can feel it a little bit. And so I told myself, oh, I'm gonna try to do it myself, which I was scared to death. You know, I had no heart to be a drug dealer. I wasn't. It wasn't right. You know, sometimes people say you do something and then you become immune to it. Like maybe the first time you sell it, or the next time you sell it, and you just forget about being scared of it. No. Anytime I handed somebody something, I was always scared, and I stayed scared, and I remained scared. And what happened was, we went to another project where my girlfriend's friend lived, and she was actually married. Her husband actually sold drugs, and so was selling a lot of it. I only had a little bit, and so long story short, they wound up raiding. We wasn't them. Me and her husband weren't there. The myth in the hood was, if the police raid, if the girls put the drugs on them, they won't check them. That was the myth back then. Again, it was so new. People had said stuff, and so we come back to the apartment. They didn't raided the house. They didn't took my girlfriend to jail. She put all the drugs on her, and what she got arrested was what they call Pahuska County. Well, they had to take her to Tulsa County first. They had his drugs. She had his drugs in her pocket. Had mine up in her brassiere, right? So they found my little 220 rocks. I only had like $40 worth. You know,
I
she had like an ounce, which is like about $1,000 worth. So she got charged for my little 220 rocks in Tulsa, and got charged for his ounce in Pahuska. And so here's how I mean, like, I just feel like my mom was watching over me. His wife just sung like a canary on him. That wasn't mine. That was my husband. Da, da, da. All the charges got transferred to him.
Oh, okay.
Because my girlfriend was pregnant at the time. They knew she wasn't selling. My name never came up. And guess what Freddy Fri never did again in his life? Sold drugs. I knew I had dodged the bullet, and I just looked up and I was like, you know, that's nothing but my mom. I mean, just watching down over me, because my name could have easily came up. I could have easily caught a case in that moment. And so from that moment on, I just vowed to make sure I stand for what I stand for. And to this day, I've never smoked, I've never drank, and I've been in some situations where people are just really trying to get me to do it. And I just try to stay true to myself. I try to have high character. I try to have high integrity. And for me, 26 years old, I had an epiphany. I woke up, you know, before that happened, my life was in disarray. And I was always going to jail for having suspended license and all kind of silly stuff. And my credit was bad. And I just, you know, remember just sitting down and getting on my knees and just like, man, I just need some help here. I need some direction. You know, I know I'm a good guy, but I'm just happy-go-lucky. I'm just doing stuff without thinking about it. And then I woke up at age 26. I had 4 kids already, but they were living with their mom in the ghetto. And I was doing a little bit better than her. I wasn't in the hood anymore. I'd moved into apartments out south. And I woke up though. When I woke up that morning, I was laying on my bed and I looked up and I just could see all the error in my ways, and everything was so clear. You know, I think maybe my cerebral cortex developed, you know, my brain, because I just realized I was in this deep, deep hole. I was like, oh my God, I'm in this deep, deep hole right now. And the first thing I thought, Nate, was I got to gain custody of my children. I'd never thought that before, ever, ever, ever. My youngest was 3 at the time, my oldest was 7, and I had never thought that I would actually be the sole provider for them, because, again, when you grow up where I grew up, people have kids all the time, you know, out of wedlock, and the kids, they don't stay together. The mama always raises them. That's just how it is. No matter what the situation, no matter the circumstance, the mama raises them. The dad is going to go by and see him, if he does that at all. And so for me to wake up that morning and the first thing I think is, I got to get custody of my children. And it's so crazy, because around that same time, their mom calls me and she asks me, will I keep the kids? Because I would go over there and see them. It was still that little cat and mouse game she was playing with me. Oh, come see the kids, but you got to be with me and all that. And I was trying to be out of the situation. Yeah. Right. So, but I actually got the kids. I had a 1-bedroom apartment, so they came and stayed with me. You know, they were sleeping on pallets, and they was excited about it. They were little kids. They don't know no better, you know.
Right, yeah.
But I told her, I said, she called me about a week and a half later, so said, you know, everything's a little bit better. Can you bring the kids back? I said, yeah, I'll bring them back. But I said, if this happens again, I'm going to go ahead and keep them. I'll keep them. And so I take the kids back. Then her sister winds up calling me and says, you know, Fred, you really need to get those kids. She has them in a really bad environment. They're seeing a lot of things that you wouldn't want any kid to see. And they were living in a rough part. You know, even for North Tulsa, it was a rough part of North Tulsa. You know?
Okay. Yeah.
So she calls me back 2 weeks later, asked me to get them again. First thing I did, Nate, is I went right up to the school they were going to. Now, this couldn't happen in 2018, I promise you.
Oh, no.
I went up to the school. They didn't know who I was. I told them I am withdrawing these 3 kids, you know, and they let me. And I told them what I was going to be going to school, because doing that, after I took them back, I started doing my homework and figuring out what schools were around me, found out I had some good schools in my area. Withdrew. And next thing you know, they were in schools in my area. And I was like, what in the world am I doing? I had 3 girls. I'm trying to do hair. and I have no idea how to do hair. I thought I was pretty good at it, and then I realized when the girls got old enough to do their own hair, they said, "Daddy, don't ever touch our hair again." So I guess I wasn't that good at it. But she called me back a couple of weeks after that and said, "Can you bring the kids back?" I said, "They don't even go to the same school no more."
Oh.
And she didn't even know. That's how much she was out of the loop.
Wow.
Yeah, I knew how to pick them. But and I had them. They all were by the same lady. All 4 kids by the same lady.
Gotcha.
I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing, to be honest with you. But anyway, it is what it is. But so she said, so I just told her, I said, listen, you have some things you need to work on. I know the situation that you're in right now is not very good. So let's just go ahead and I'll keep the kids for now. And if the time comes where you're in a better place, they're in good hands, then we can talk about you getting them back. And we never went to court. And my kids graduated, living with me. They would go see her from time to time, but I don't know how we made it through. I don't.
Yeah.
Never got any government assistance. Never really worked just a full-time job. Like maybe sometimes some people might work from the time from they 18 to now. I was just a hustler, and I just tried to do as many legal hustles. And I remember being the CD man. I used to sell CDs, record CDs, go sell them. I was doing whatever I needed to do to try to make it, and get us through. And by the grace of God, we got through. We got over the hump, and it got greater. They always say it's not about how you start; it's about how you finish. And it was really rough and rocky the way my life started, but it's a lot. It's a lot. I'm finishing strong. I'm finishing strong. Yeah.
Absolutely. No, man, that's incredible. And it's funny, you mentioned a little bit about legal things, and I know a lot of cases that, oh my goodness, it's just a mess. When it's like whenever there's kids involved, you got to go to court. And I've seen a lot I've heard so many stories about that. And it really screws somebody up sometimes for life, because I mean, when you mess with somebody's kids, Fred, I mean, you feel me? You know what I mean? That's no joke.
For sure. But hey, let me tell you, the main reason why we didn't go to court is because we were both pretty broke. So
hey, peace and blessings.
Yeah, we had to agree to disagree and come to some type of mutual agreement because we didn't have no money to pay any lawyers. But I guess I was able to at least convince her to for the betterment of the kids to go ahead and let me take care of them for a minute. And I'm glad. 2 things about her, and I may not agree with everything that she's done in her life, and even some of her character and integrity at some point was questionable, but I will say that her being woman enough to let me keep the kids, and also not bringing my name into that mess when she got arrested. So I'll always respect her for that, because that's kind of some ride or die stuff. And we wasn't even really on the best of terms, but she didn't bring my name into it when she could have easily. Her best friend was all over. Oh, it's my husband's stuff. It's my husband's stuff.
Right,
so I was just. So I do always take my hat off and salute her for that. But we were just broke, and we were young, and we didn't know what the heck we was doing. And so that's what I mean. All this stuff happened before I had that epiphany, before I woke up. I wish I would have woke up at 17 and had it, and then I would have made a whole bunch of different choices. But I didn't. I didn't. So.
Absolutely. Wow, that's incredible. I know you're really big, and for the viewers that might not know, Fred, he's really big, with, of course, speaking, especially with coaching basketball and everything like that. So I guess just to sort of tie the pieces together a little bit. So do you think maybe with you and, of course, like the girls, growing up and everything, do you think maybe that might have had some type of influence with you actually wanting to work, or sort of just being around that environment from a young one, I guess you can say, actually wanting to do stuff with, because it's with ladies basketball, correct?
Yeah. Oh, let me tell you, it is so true. Sometimes you're positioning yourself when you don't realize you're positioning yourself.
Absolutely.
So, we ain't talked about the hip hop piece. I'm like the founding father of hip hop in Oklahoma. You know, we started back in high school, and hip hop really did save my life because I was a shy kid, and somebody talked me and begged me into rapping when I told them I never would do it because they knew I was into music and I had all the music equipment and I was writing raps, but I had all this fear and I had to overcome that fear. And I'm living proof that each and every one of you out there can overcome and conquer fear. And so I got up on stage in the talent show, and it was just wasn't even the real talent show. It was just the tryouts.
The audition.
I got up, it was just a tryout. And my beat came on, and I started doing my rap, and I was like, oh my God, this is it. This is who I need to be. And I was playing basketball at the time, but rap overtook me. And so all of the things that no one else was doing locally, because it was still pretty new, we were the first one to go on the radio, first one to go in the studio, first one to have our music played and on the radio and to have it in stores. And we gained we got national distribution deal and became internationally known, went to Japan and performed last year. So I already had that entertainment piece in me and was putting out albums and gaining a following. And then I had that epiphany and got custody of my kids. Stopped doing music completely. Me and like I said, my best friend Daryl the Deekster, we still best friends. We still in a music group together, but we stopped doing music for like 7 years. And we never said, you know, bro, we're going to take a break from this. Life just happened. It just kept passing. We never said we were going to stop. We just did. And so, when I asked my girls, I had 3 girls and a boy, and I was dating a young lady who had girls. Well, I started coaching boys, started coaching her son. And then I looked up, and my oldest daughter, I noticed they got to about the 3rd grade, and I noticed that she was pretty fast. Well, the girl I was dating, she had a daughter by a guy that played Division I college basketball at TU. He was 6'8". So her daughter and my daughter were the same age, right? But my daughter was like this, and her daughter was like this.
Oh yeah.
I said, okay, well maybe we can start doing some basketball with them. Start putting together a little bit of a team, and quickly realized, because I was coaching boys at the time, coaching some boys that went to play in college and things of that nature. But I realized that the girls were getting the short end of the stick. So nobody really wanted to coach the girls. And so I started learning how to coach and started learning the ins and outs and learning how to deal with young ladies and the differences between young ladies and young boys. And I figured that out. And we started playing in tournaments about twice a month. This team just got really good. As a matter of fact, from that team, the original team had girls that wind up going to college playing basketball for UCLA and Tennessee and Georgetown and Baylor and Oral Roberts and just a whole bunch of Division I teams, one of the best groups of AAU to ever come out of Oklahoma. We were coaching. But during that time, I'm just paying to play in tournaments. And how it works for you, if you don't know how basketball tournaments, youth basketball works, you basically put together a team, a club team. They still sometimes want to call them AAU teams, but they're called club teams. And then you go play in local tournaments against other teams in your same grade or age. And you pay the tournament director that entry fee. The tournament director pays for the facility, pays for the referees, pays for the workers. He receives the tournament entry fees. He receives the gate that they cost you to get in, and he receives concessions most of the time. And so me and another buddy of mine, whose daughter played on my team, we've been playing in these tournaments for like 5 or 6 years, and it was still relatively new. And we started doing the math. It was like, this dude's making a killing, you know? And so we told ourselves one day we were going to do our own. And then girls got a little bit older, and we said, man, let's start doing these tournaments. And we started doing them, and we realized how difficult it was to organize and to get facilities. Facilities was the hardest part. We started off with in some recreational centers that were in the hood that were not good. People were outside panhandling money from people that came. But the main thing we did was we got started. A bright idea is nothing if you never get started. If you never turn the light on, you just in the dark. your idea just stays in the dark. So we had that idea and it was in the dark, and then we flipped that light switch. We might have started off in some bad locations, but we started shaking hands, we started kissing babies, we started making contacts, we started building relationships, and before you knew it, we went from some of the poor facilities to better facilities.
Mm-hmm.
This is what's so crazy though. You can actually be running a business or a somewhat quote unquote entrepreneur and still be just kind of spinning your wheels and still just learning. And that's what I was doing. I spent 3 years with my business partner, and I realized that we had different thought processes on how we should run the business. We had different visions, and we were basically trying to pattern our tournaments after the other guys' tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
So he would normally run a tournament once a month, sometimes twice a month. So he had quote unquote all of the best dates. So we would never have a tournament the same weekend he had one. And we would try to pick what other date were the best dates. Well, when I made the decision to leave him, because I still was struggling. I mean, I was making a little money, but I was 3 months behind on my rent. And so a few things had happened. And I planned about 3 months before I actually left. I knew I was going to leave.
I got you.
And so I finally told him, man, you can have all the naming rights and everything that we came up with. And I said, I'm going in a different direction. And then, our buddy CJ, ET's right-hand man, right? And he always says, and I didn't even realize I was doing it because, of course, I didn't know CJ at the time. But he said, figure out the gaps. Figure out the gaps. Whenever you go into a business, figure out the gaps. And I look back, when we first started that business off, we didn't figure out the gaps. We just tried to follow somebody else's lead, which is cool. But if you follow in somebody else's lead, at some point, you got to make a change to you and make it your own. You got to take it and make it your own. And so when I went back into the situation, I sat down for a second. I said, okay, dang, I'm losing. 3 months behind on my rent. I'm a so-called business owner, but I'm broke. What do I do now? Came up with the new name. I said, what are the gaps? Okay. What problem can I solve? Guys out there, whenever you're trying to do anything with business related or helping other people, figure out what problem you can solve. And so I said, okay, I coach. What are my parents always complaining about? Well, most of the tournaments, Nate, were Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, or Saturday and Sunday. People don't like to play on Sunday.
That's true.
So that was the first thing. Okay, well, people don't like to play on Sunday. Okay, maybe I could try doing tournaments Saturday only. You could come in and get 3 games, still make it, I came up with the playing thought process of okay, what's another gap? Okay. I said, okay, so another thing is we're trying to guess when people want to play. Okay, we think this weekend might be better than that weekend. I said, well, how about I just make this my business and I just have a tournament every Saturday, just every Saturday, and don't worry about if people want to play. And I said, let me tell you, bro, when I rolled that model out, and I put it in a verse, and I said, I figured out the gaps, and honestly, my life has never been the same. Honestly, once I wrote out that model, and I mean, it happened quick. It happened quick. Yeah. It's like I went from just being struggling to caught up on my rent, and that was 10 years ago, and I've been rolling ever since. It's the best decision I ever made in my life. But it all came back to answer the original question. When I was faithful over few, coaching coaching my girls and those teams for free and learning the business when I didn't even know that was going to be my business. So it was like I went to school all those years I was coaching to prepare me for running my business that I'm running today, to give me all of the experience and know-how that I needed to be successful in the business that I'm running today. So yeah, definitely. The stuff that you're doing right now, you may not have any idea that it's leading you to where you're going to be in the future. So coaching them girls definitely is the reason why I'm in the position that I'm in today.
Absolutely. And I think, what you said, one of the, many things that you said in there that, the viewers should definitely take away with is, like you said, just filling that gap. And I feel like, no matter what it is that one is trying to do, we're all going to feel, whether you're an entrepreneur or, working in a corporate America or something, or whatever your journey is, we're all going to stumble across some obstacle, some hurdle, or we might feel lost. I mean, even myself, right? I mean, I have my own marketing company. There's times where I'm just, man, I wonder how I get out of this, right? And then
Yeah.
it all comes back to like what you said. You got to fill in that gap, come back, evaluate the things in terms of what needs to be done to fill in that gap, right? Whether it's maybe finding a mentor, maybe it's maybe somebody doesn't read a lot, right? Maybe it's reading more books. Maybe it's actually whether, let's just say your website maybe isn't the best. Maybe it's actually finding somebody that can actually give you some expertise to create you a decent website, right? Just different things like that. In speaking, bro, like, and I sort of want to transition to that right now. I know you recently, just a couple months ago, I believe, got an award and certified from ETA. So, man, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
For real.
Thank you. Eric Thomas certified speaker. Yeah.
Absolutely, man. I mean, that's ET being one of the best motivational speakers. In my opinion, he's number one in the world.
Yeah.
And how was that, man? How was the process? Tell us a little bit about how that all went down.
Man, let me tell you. ET, that's my guy. But I mean, ET hit me with some stuff that ET's blown my mind a couple of times, because before I became a game changer. Okay, so when I first was doing music, right? It was profane. We had profanity. We was from the hood, and we was cussing and all that stuff. And but mine's always had something positive in it. So when I told you we stopped rapping for about 7 years, stopped doing music. When we got back into it, we started doing this 2020 vision, this positive, motivational type hip hop. And so somebody sent me a link to ET's video. I started watching the TGIMs. And so I was writing a song, right? And this is how my whole thing came about. And I said, I was writing, kick it with your boys. I said, kick it with your boys like a sensei. And I'm like, man, when you finish a line, you always try to figure out what word rhymes with that next word so you can piece together. You kind of reverse engineer. First, you come up with the word, and then you reverse engineer the rest of it. And I was just saying, I said WINSday, And I was, at that moment in time, just like everybody else, I'm thinking the rest of the week. And then I was like, oh, WINSday. I was like WINS. And so I said, kick it with your boys like a sensei, climb the hump, and make every day a WINSday. And I was like, oh, snap. Because I was like, I can start doing some videos on WINSday, make every day a Wednesday. So I started doing the videos, right? And then, of course, I signed up for Breathe University, because I've always been into motivational stuff, way back Tony Robbins days and all them guys. And so then they gave the P7D deal for Atlanta, right? And so I went down there, and I've been putting my videos out and everything. And I remember E.T. was talking. And E.T. can just go from just a regular conversation. He's so anointed. He can go from a regular conversation into bang, next level.
Crazy, yeah.
So me and my wife sitting in the back row, right? And he's like, yeah, and he said, you guys, some of you guys, I mean, you out here and you're doing this and you're doing that. And he said, but some of you. And he looks directly at me. Now, I don't know E.T. from Adam at the time, other than just from what we do. He looks directly at me. And he said, bro, I'm feeling your stuff. And I'm in the back row, like nobody behind me. I turns around. I'm like, who in the world is he talking to? He said, yeah, yeah, dude, my heart dropped. And then he quotes me. Because I always say, what I always say, I can't remember what he said. But it was like so funny. I said, he said you was born to be spectacular. It's in your DNA. That's what I say all the time. And I was like, God, oh man, it was a surreal moment. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And oh my God. And he's did that a couple of times to me. And so for me to be part of the first class of his game changers and actually get through the program and still be a part of the program and be certified and have some cool stuff that's coming down the pike that I'll be able to do with ET and CJ and Carl and the rest of the game changers, it was definitely an honor. I'm humbled and feel like I have to continue to put my best foot forward to represent that logo. You have to represent that shield. And so that's what I'm trying to do.
Absolutely, for sure. Yeah, yeah, that logo's you don't want to go around repping it and sound like some hoodlum on the street, you know?
No, 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 no. You gotta, it requires it. It's a stamp of excellence, and so anytime
Absolutely.
I step out, I have to be excellent, I have to be next level.
Mhm. Absolutely. Wow. So would you say, because there's a lot of so-called speakers, motivational speakers, and everything like that. I'm sure, of course, with that being one of your lanes, I'm sure you see it a lot, right? You see a lot of people get on the Facebook Live, do the videos, do the YouTubes, the whole 9 yards. So, do you, well, I guess, let me put it this way. Would you recommend that even if you're one, like a great speaker, like you have the passion, you have the energy, do you recommend somebody to like take a speaking course or to actually enhance their speaking? You know what I mean?
Oh, definitely, yes. I mean, anything you do, you always want to try to learn the mechanics. You want to learn the thing. Like the game changes for me, like going through the P7D program. Oh, I learned so much. I was recording video. I was recording live events, and I wasn't miking up. We wasn't getting the
Wow.
video. We wasn't getting the audio. I mean, I can speak. But when you want to really dig in, you want to try to make it a career, or you want to try to go to the next level in anything you do, and you have there are holes that you need to fill. No, you can't lean on your own understanding, thinking that you so sweet. I got it all figured out. No, no, no. You need help. You need mentors. We all need mentors, and you got to do the work. You got to do the work inside of the work. The work inside of the work. That means all of the stuff that you don't know, you need to learn it so you can apply it. You can learn it so you
Mm,
can apply it. So definitely, I'm a big advocate of learn, 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 and then learn some more. And then apply,
mm,
apply, 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 apply. Learn, apply, execute, execute. Yeah. So for
wow.
me, this whole whirlwind, basically, I feel like everything that I've been through just led me back to hip hop, to
Mm,
tie hip hop into my speaking. And that's what separates me from everybody else is that I can take a verse and I can spit a verse. That's what I do now. When I speak, it's always gonna come, it's gonna be hip hop story and teaching. Hip hop story
mm,
teaching. So it'd be like if I said cards were dealt. The winners learn to master cards, money bags, no credit limit master cards. And so they not hearing what I'm saying. I said cards were dealt. The winners learn to master cards. We all were dealt a certain hand in our lives. Some hands were better than others, but the real winners learn how to take whatever hand they were dealt, be it good, be it bad, and they learn how to flip it and get the most out of it. So cards were dealt. The winners learn to master cards. Money bags, no credit limit, master cards. Master class, I finally passed, but it was shaky. Kept trying to see the sun. My life was acting shady.
right.
So what I mean by that is that each and every one of us, we're born with our own set of problems. Our lives come with their own
Mm,
set of built-in problems. Like for you, Nate, whatever you're going through that you didn't self that just happens. Like for me, my mom died when I was 4. Got a bad stepmom, or just certain things that happened that I had no control over. Okay, so that's what I mean when I say master class. I finally passed, but it was shaky. I kept trying to see the sun, but my life was acting shady. So it kept throwing me dealing me these bad cards. And so, but then I sabotaged myself, and those facts led to demise. And so we already get dealt this bad hand in life, but then we start doing dumb stuff like me, having kids when I wasn't ready, not dropping out of college, messing up my credit, driving around with suspended license, just doing some of the dumb stuff that I was doing. So sabotage myself. Those facts led to demise. But then somehow my brain and body compromised. That's
mm,
when I had the epiphany. If you stay ready, if you believe, if you trust, if you get on your knees sometime and say a prayer, if you want to do better than you're doing, if you self-assess, then you give yourself a chance for your brain and your body to compromise, and that cerebral cortex can kick in, and next thing you know, you have an epiphany, and now you're mentally free. Once you get out of that, once we get out of the mental issues, once we mentally are clear, mentally are free, we may have a long physical climb because at that moment my brain and body compromised. Looked up and saw the hole I dug was ginormous. I told myself the climb will become my norm. My comfort zone was crushed. I had to human up. But suddenly my business started booming up. And so my comfort zone was crushed. And if you struggling in life, your comfort zone needs to be crushed because you got to make a change. You have to be comfortable getting uncomfortable. And so I can go on for days, but I say the verse and I explain the verse and I teach you how to apply it back to your life. And that's hip hop 101. And that's what separates me from every other motivational speaker in the world that I'm aware of right now. And so I'm working right now. I'm working really, really hard.
No, absolutely, man. And listening to you, Fred, because I listen to a lot of speakers and you're unique, you're very different because you can tie that hip hop aspect into it. And that's something that you identified, of course, early on. And just seeing you really put that in as your gift, that distinguishes you compared to all these other speakers. Because, my goodness, I'm sure, whenever you go to the schools and whenever you're on stage speaking, the kids, I'm sure they just love that, I'm sure they just are like,
how in the world is he doing that? Then you hear bars. That'd be cracking me up when you hear that. But it's several times when they come up to you after you finish speaking, they're just amazed because I'm really good at figuring out what a situation needs, and then I just have so many verses in my head that I can pull from. You know what I mean? If the moment requires me to go here, I can go here. If it requires me to go there, I can go there. And so I'm just blessed to be able to. And like I said, even when we were doing it a long time ago, those verses were still saying something. So minus the profanity, they're still very, very powerful. I just posted a video from a song I wrote when I write that song. I wrote that song 12 years ago, maybe. It's called Special. And I said it was for females. And one of the verses I was talking about females going through bad relationships and just telling them to remember their self-worth, know your self-worth. And it's doing really good. It's got a lot of people respond, a lot of people sharing, but I can just go a lot of different places, it's so funny how you stumble up on other motivational speakers, and I kind of stumbled up on Jay Shetty. You familiar with Jay Shetty?
Yeah, Jay Shetty, absolutely.
Yeah, and our lanes are very similar. Of course, I'm tackling it a little bit different than him, but we're in that relationship, we're in that success, we're in that greatness realm of trying to speak to people. And so I have the Freddy Fri, which is Freddy Fri Motivation, and then I have the Coach Freddy Fri, which is my basketball and my sports speaking, and I release videos on that too. And so I'm just out here working, Nate. I'm just out here working. Nothing works unless you grind hard and do work. That's
absolutely.
all.
Yeah. It's all about that
content. Legacy stuff, bro. Go ahead.
No, I feel you, bro. No, it's all about putting out that content, as that's crucial.
Yes, sir.
And I guess really, man, I'll ask you one more question here, and I guess that is like, do you ever get, and even myself, I'm sort of curious myself, like, do you ever get, of course, starting up with speaking, I'm sure, like, maybe you got nervous, you still get nervous now, and then how do you sort of overcome that if somebody, man, like, I want to be a speaker, but I don't know, like, I just get the butterflies inside. I don't know how to control it. It must not be, my thing. I don't know if I can do it, but deep down they want to, so I guess, do you still get nervous? And then is there any way to overcome that?
I definitely still get nervous, but see, remember I said, for anybody out there listening, I overcame that fear. I was shy. I would not even want to get up in front of people in my class and say anything. And so if it's for you, sometimes what is for you, if you have this burning desire to do it, and the only thing that's stopping you is the fear of doing it, you'll be amazed at what changes in you, what epiphany happens for you when you actually just say, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to do it. And then you'd be like, oh my God, I knew I wanted to do that, but I didn't know it was going to feel like that when I did it. So it's your gift. And if it's your gift, that's how you're going to feel. And so once I said, call me Mr. Chiller, don't call me at all. In my little rap I said back in whatever year it was, I realized that was my gift. Wow. And so all of the feelings that are associated with the gift hit you. And next thing you know, my confidence erupted. I wasn't shy anymore. But to this day, I still get butterflies. And I think it's a good thing to have a little anxiety, be a little nervous, because once you go out there, that means you still care. That means you're still breathing, which means you're still achieving. And so, but once you get into whatever it is that you're doing, you'll forget about all of it. And it's like no place like home. That's kind of one of those things. That's how I look at the stage. No place like home. And so, yeah, that's how how I look at it. I still get it, but I just it's no big deal now. I just know it's coming.
Yeah.
I let it go, and then I go home, which is the stage.
Absolutely, man. No, it's funny you said that because, I get asked that sometimes as well. Obviously, I don't really speak as much as you or on stage or anything like that. I'm trying to get more consistent with my videos and everything. But whenever I do speak in front of people, I of course, you always have those butterflies. I still get nervous, but I feel like that's where the passion comes from. And if you try to control that, because a lot of people, they sort of shy away, and then they sort of like, I feel like that's why people sort of stumble a little bit, or they forget what they say because they script things.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm sure you can attest to this as well. I mean, whenever I get up, I don't script, I just go up like, I'm a little bit nervous. I got the butterflies, but then it's like, you can control that to your favor. And that's where the passion comes out. Is this sort of the same with you?
Oh, definitely. I've been in some places. That's why, like I say, with the hip hop, sometimes I know where I need to go. Okay. Okay. Now I'm not gonna go here. I might have went here last time. This ain't what they need. They need, they need something else. They need something a little more heartfelt. This group might need something a little more upbeat. They may need something a little more deep. They may need something a little more fun. And so I just pull based on what the crowd needs. And man, let me take a minute, man, to salute you though, man, because I'm really excited for what the future holds for you. Because to be so young and already kind of know the direction that you want to go, to have your own podcast, have your own company, actually have done some phenomenal work for me, and I know you've done a lot of phenomenal work for others. I'm just I'm excited for what the future holds for you, and I salute you, my brother. We need more 21-year-olds like you, man. If we have more 21-year-olds like you, it would be a much, much, much better place, bro. And so you just keep doing what you're doing, because you're well on your way to a phenomenally successful life.
Man, no, I really appreciate that, bro. Yeah, no, that really means a lot, man. That right there is definitely what keeps you going at the end of the day, is when you have a support group like that. So, no, man, that really means a lot. So, Fred, where can the viewers, where can the audience find you at? Are you on social? You got a website?
Yeah, you can catch me on the website. It's real simple, freddyfri.com, FreddyFri.com. Social platforms, Freddy Fri Motivation, YouTube, Freddy Fri Motivation, Instagram, and Twitter, and LinkedIn, Coach Freddy Fri though. But yeah, you can find me after you Google me. I'm gonna come up. Player 1000 if you're looking for music. PLAYYA 1000. That's the music side. A lot of people know me from that. But we out here, as we would say in the hood. We out here working.
Hey, we out here. No, for sure. I'll attach some links below. That way people can click and sort of follow you and everything. So, yeah, Fred, I'll tell you what, man, I'll let you sort of, we'll kick it out with, I guess, just a message for the audience, if you don't mind, whether it's, a verse you got or whether it's some type of message. Hey, man, I'll let you do your thing and we'll sort of end it here, brother.
Let's go. Skipping to the money on some hopscotch. Was low level, now we on some top notch. Topic trendsetter had to revamp. I was hiking with them slackers. I had to break camp. Catch me on your campus chasing capital. I'm dropping daily diamonds, tips are practical. Tactical, my tactics always tactful, impactful, was bashful. Now the place is packed full, and it's me and D. Davis on the main stage. Remember, we was broke and in that pain stage, but chose to self-assess and got uncomfortable. Back in the days when I was irresponsible, epiphany happened, call it God's work. Now life is like the lotto, watch them odds work. In my favor, because I made the choice to transform. Lord had plans for them. I made it through the sandstorm. They want to know how I got through what I've been through. Tell them I was sinful, was swindle. Any so that came in contact with my personal. Then I made that switch and now my life is full and purposeful. They wonder why I say it's because I got a what? And that's the reason why this Wally vet is still the guy. I'm guided by the principles of success, and plus my mama watching over. So stay blessed, and I implore each and every one of you, if you fall down, get back up. I posted today, they want to see you fail, but they don't realize that winners like us succeed because we get back up when we fail, and we're going to climb that hump, and we're going to make every day a Wednesday. Ah.
Hey, there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. My guy, Freddy Fri. I appreciate you, brother. Really appreciate you being on the show, man.
Oh, man. Hey, thanks for having me, man. And I salute you again. Make sure you guys look my bro up. And if you need some social media work, Simba, man. Holler at your boys.
Much love, brother.
You are.